Ladies and gentlemen, this is breaking news. In this video, I'm going to tell you what a top Republican senator in charge of ensuring that CARES Act funds stabilize our economy just said that proves that he will support that the SBA disburses the full $10,000 grants to each and every eligible applicant for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. First off, you already heard the news. I dropped the video on it last night. The Republicans introduced their proposal. They're calling for another round of direct payments, $1,200 for individuals, $2,400 for couples, $500 for dependents of any age. The federal pandemic unemployment compensation package, the $600 a week payment that people on unemployment insurance are receiving will be cut to $200 a week through September, and then it gets replaced with a 70% wage replacement up to $500. The bill is also calling for $190 billion for a second round of Paycheck Protection Program loan funding. Companies that have less than 300 employees and have suffered a revenue drop of more than 50% can apply for a second round of funding, $100 billion for seasonal businesses and companies located in low-income census tracts that can also display a bigger than 50% drop in revenue can also apply. So this may be a good time to apply for the first round of Paycheck Protection Program funding if you did not do so, and then potentially apply for the second round of Paycheck Protection Program loans if you didn't do this the first time, or if you qualify based on this eligibility criteria. They're also calling for, now pay attention to this, because this is where all of this comes together and what is going to substantiate and what is substantiating our arguments for the full disbursement, the disbursement of the full $10,000 economic injury disaster loan advances. The bill is calling for $105 billion for the reopening of schools, ladies and gentlemen. Most of that money is for schools that are to physically reopen their facilities. Why are they doing that? Because they want to get people. There are a number of American workers, they don't have the resources, they don't have the money for daycare, and they have to send their kids to school in order to get back to work. Anytime you hear a lawmaker talking about getting schools reopening, getting people back to work, that is an argument for more support for small businesses through the disbursement of the full $10,000 advance for all eligible applicants of the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, mainly through the bill, through our all-time favorite bill, S.4227, ladies and gentlemen, the Ensuring Increased Disaster Loan for Small Businesses Act. Okay, now keep watching, because this is going to get good. Because today, Senator Pat Toomey, Republican from Pennsylvania, he called for all of this. He called for proceeding with caution. He said that although we have to take care of a narrow subset, I'm using some of his words verbatim, a narrow subset of our country that are vulnerable to this violence, a number of us can still proceed with caution and take reasonable precautions to reopen our economy and get people back to work. What else does the Republican, now just hold on for me, bear with me so while we put all of this together. What else was the bill calling for as per yesterday? A tax credit for businesses that need to upgrade their facilities to make it safe for people to buy in their businesses, to get employees back to work, ladies and gentlemen. It's calling for a credit. Now, this is the same thing he's calling for. He wants to ensure that we reopen the economy as safely as possible. Now, let me give you some background in regards to Republican Pat Toomey. First off, he's already working on a bill called S.4135. It is entitled to provide forgivable physical disaster loans to businesses damaged due to civil unrest and for other purposes. So it's basically a loan that small businesses can apply for if they suffer damage due to the protests, looting, rioting, etc. And it is calling for 75% of this loan to be forgivable, to become a grant essentially. And it is calling for, it's gonna blow your mind, ladies and gentlemen. It is calling for an advance of either 20% of the loan, this is a grant, also forgivable, or $10,000 that the administrator may distribute in 3 days' time. Now, the statutory language, I guess they're going to have to fix in this bill and S.4227 because that's what made it ambiguous and allowed for courts to rule in favor of the Small Business Administration. Nonetheless, it is pretty clear that S.4227, it calls basically for the same thing. The problem with this bill, S.4135, is that it doesn't have as much traction, and it's called the HEALS Act, not the HEALS Act. Don't get it confused with the Republican bill, with the Republican proposal that Mitch McConnell introduced yesterday. This is the HEAL. It's a singular as opposed to the plural that's the HEALS Act that calls for everything that I just spoke about. This doesn't have much traction. It has no co-sponsors. S.4227, the Ensuring Increased Disaster Loan for Small Business Act already has 4 co-sponsors. 4 sponsors. It has bipartisan support. It has 3 Democrats on board and 1 Republican Senator John Cornyn from Texas. He's on board with this program. So it has more steam picked up. This makes it the perfect candidate. Actually, it makes Republican Senator Pat Toomey the perfect candidate to go ahead and jump on and support this bill through his congressional commission, because this is the tool that is going to ensure our economic stabilization. Ladies and gentlemen, the disbursement of the full $10,000 advance to every eligible economic injury disaster loan. Because think of the argument against payroll tax cuts. It was because, according to the administration, it would take too long to get money out to individuals. So they decided to go ahead and distribute the direct payments as pursuant to the CARES Act under the same rules, except this time they got $500 for dependents of any age. They said that they would not include the payroll tax cut because it would take some time to get money into Americans' pockets, whereas the direct payments can get money into Americans' pockets immediately. So they're calling the Republican bill yesterday, the HEALS Act, is calling for a tax credit to upgrade facilities to get you ready to reopen. So you could either leave it there and package it with the disbursement of the full $10,000 grants, which is money that's going to get to small businesses immediately. That's what Treasury Secretary said last week on CNBC that he wanted for businesses, and that these programs would be passed through individual bills, i.e. S.4227. So this is the perfect thing to package in this HEALS Act program. This senator also stated that this deal will pass, the HEALS Act, nonetheless it's going to take 1 to 2 weeks. So that gives us enough time in order to lobby for this bill, for S.4227. And it is perfect. It's calling for the same things that he wants, ladies and gentlemen. Another reason why this senator will support S.4227 and the disbursement of the full $10,000 advances to every eligible economic injury disaster loan program applicant. Senator Pat Toomey sent a letter to the Honorable Stephen Mnuchin and the Honorable Javida Carranza on April 8th, 2020, specifically complaining about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance Program. He was basically relaying all the complaints that his constituents had communicated to him in regards to their frustrations and experiences dealing with the Small Business Administration applying for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance. Here's what it reads. Economic Injury Disaster Loans. Borrowers have significant questions about the SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loans, EIDLs, before PPP's enactment. Some businesses applied for EIDLs because they could allegedly receive EIDL advances of up to $10,000 within 3 days of applying for a loan. These advances appear to have been delayed for weeks. This has confused borrowers and lenders in part because of the interplay between EIDLs and PP loans. Pay attention to the last sentence. In addition, small businesses are eager to know how the SBA plans to speed up the delivery of EIDL advances. He's demanding, basically, in the nicest way possible, that the Small Business Administration speed up the processing and disbursement of economic injury disaster loan advances as per S.4227, the Ensuring Increased Disaster Loans for Small Businesses Act. Now, I just spoke to his office this morning. He is a member of the Congressional Oversight Committee. This is a committee that Congress created pursuant to the CARES Act in order to oversee and ensure that the funds the Treasury and the Federal Reserve are dispersing into the economy are ensuring our economic stabilization, ladies and gentlemen. It's basically, they just created this thing, so there's not an official website for the commission. So they're just operating, I guess, during the pandemic, since everyone has to meet virtually, I guess they're just meeting virtually, and they're putting together these reports and releasing them to Congress to see how the funds are actually working to help the economy. That said, one of his staff members told me to go ahead, in regards to addressing this commission, we should contact Senator Pat Toomey directly, ladies and gentlemen. And in order to do that, we should visit his website, which is toomey.senate.gov, and then simply click on the contact link. You'll get a drop down which reads email Senator Toomey, and in that link you go ahead and scroll down. We'll enter in all our contact information, and we're telling him that we're contacting him in regards to ask for his support, to demand his support for S.4227. What are the arguments we're going to make? Again, we use the numbers. Remember retail sales. Retail sales jumped in May by 18.2%. They jumped by 7.5% in June. Nonetheless, between the period of April 2020 and June 2020, retail sales are down 8.1% from the same period last year. There is an uptick, nonetheless, in retail sales in June of 1.1% from June 2019. Unemployment rate has kept on dropping from 14.7% to 13.3% to 11.1%. And according to the country's top economists, not me nor you, all of these upticks, all of these economic gains came due to financial support through the CARES Act, through all the stimulus money, ladies and gentlemen. So if we want to continue to enjoy these economic gains and get back to work, because that's what Republicans are calling for, getting back to work, ladies and gentlemen. You have to remember, it's a Republican executive administration and a Republican-run Senate. The Senate has to ratify anything before it sends it out and slaps it onto President Donald Trump's desk so he can sign it into law, ladies and gentlemen. So they're the upper chamber of Congress right now. They have full control over it. So every single time they say, let's get back to work, that's another argument. That's something else. That's another way for us to overcome any objection from the SBA to disperse more economic injury disaster loan advances. Most specifically, the $10,000 advance. As per congressional intent, not according to me, but according to these Congress people, to these lawmakers, that they would disperse the full $10,000 economic injury disaster loan advance to every eligible small business applicant, ladies and gentlemen. Demand that. And we're going to do it through this gentleman right here. We're going to help him do this job to ensure that he gets what he wants, getting people back to work, proceeding with caution, and ensuring that we save this economy, ladies and gentlemen. Now remember, don't forget, you are part of an elite group, 31.7 million strong, ladies and gentlemen, small businesses in this country. 99.9% of all small businesses employing 60.6 million U.S. workers, 47.1% of all U.S. workers, ladies and gentlemen. There is no way that these Republican senators want us to go under. And use the Small Business Administration stats as well. Small Business Administration Administrator Javita Carranza, when she announced the conclusion of the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance Program, declared that advances were dispersed to 8 million businesses employing 30.5 million people. So that didn't help us get in the position where we are to give Republicans and the administration the portfolio and the argument to say, listen, we are on the right track. We're going to have an explosive 21. So re-elect us, put us back in office. Give us our Oval Office seats. Give us our cabinet positions. Give us our Senate seats, ladies and gentlemen. Demand that they give us the tools so we can save this economy, because without us, it is dead, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments in the comments section below. Watch this video right here for more stimulus and economic injury disaster loan advance coverage. Click the like button if you like the video. Click the subscribe button to stay on top of my findings. I will report what other people will not, as you can clearly see, and stop at nothing until everybody is funded for everything that you are eligible, ladies and gentlemen. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America and everybody else on this planet. Talk soon.